I want to make sure you know how to upload. That's the main reason why I'm asking you to submit it over the Google Classroom app. Okay, so here we have our course outline, the class code. Not that it matters, but because you already joined anyway, so it's over here. But just in case you need to, access this elsewhere, right? There's the class code. But most of you have already accepted the invitation. I found that it it is a lot easier to set up your classroom if I do the invite. It's a bit of a pain getting all your emails, but it works. Okay, so here it is. What the course is all about. So if you want to go to post-secondary and you don't need a specific focus on math, this is a course that is just fine. A lot of programs are fine with grade 12 essential. I if I could, like, my kids are 10 and 9, okay, but I will strongly suggest them to take grade 12 essential. No matter, like, let's say you want to take applied pre-cal, that's fine. Take grade 12 essential because you learn a lot of stuff here about life that is not taught in the other courses. So really good for that. Okay, we're gonna do consumer applications, right? Problem solving, decision making, a lot of decision making in here. Spatial sense, right? We're going to talk polygons and geometry and stuff like that. This course offers a great real life insight regarding major purchases such as vehicle and or home and condo, right? So those are the biggest ones here. What you will need: scientific calculator, pencil, eraser, loose leaf, and a ruler. And I actually added that just for this year. To be successful in this, right, regarding the calculator, to be successful, it's very important to have a good calculator. Don't just, a phone is not a good calculator, okay? Because you're not going to even be allowed to use that for a test or anything like that. So don't rely on your phone. Uh, we use it for all units and compute complex formulas and expressions, right? The good calculator, this should be a good calculator, right? Not the good, but a good calculator would be this. This is just an example. And you're looking at an older version of it right now on your screens, okay? Uh, the newer version looks a little different. I don't think I have one right now. But this is the one I would suggest, a two-line calculator, meaning, if you type in an expression, right? And then you hit equal, it will give you the answer as well as what you've typed in. Those are the best calculators in my opinion. Okay. A solar is even better because they never die. Like, you never have to worry about batteries, right? Well, I shouldn't say that. At some point you will, but I've had this probably over 10 years and I've never changed the battery on this. Okay. This is my favorite go-to calculator, and you can even use arrow to just go back and make changes. Like, oh, it was supposed to be a 10 there, no problem, hit equal, and then it will change the answer to whatever it's supposed to be. So 16 bucks maybe, Staples, best 16 bucks you're gonna spend. You can use it for post-secondary even, right? So spend on a good calculator. It doesn't have to be, it can be less, but don't go with one that has just like it just computes as you type. Those are not ideal, but it is what it is, right? I'm not going to force you to buy something. If you're able to do it with what you have, go for it. I just notice a lot of students get it wrong just because they don't have a good calculator. Um, what is provided, right? You'll be provided with workbooks, modules of study, as well as classroom discussion notes for all the units. You'll also be provided with a blank page. That's the study sheet that I just gave you, which will be referred to as the study sheet. And you may include notes, formulas, examples, etc. And I just tell you to start right away. Don't wait till the end. Okay, that's this box there. Topics covered, order may vary. I can tell you that we'll start with home finance. That's your first one. and we will end with home finance. That is pretty much, that's the 7th unit. That's pretty much, you can count on that. Everything in between will vary slightly. Assessment and evaluation, it will consist mainly of 4 components. ACs, I'll explain what that is in a bit. Quizzes, tests, and some kind of final assessment. It will not be an exam, most likely. What is an exam, Mr. Dirksen? It's like a 3-hour sit down. Everything that we've covered is on there. And what's a final assessment, Mr. Dirksen? A final assessment is going to be a final test of some sort where I pick a couple of units that I need you to focus on that I think are important, and it's not the whole course. Okay, and so the percentages might change. Okay, what is an AC, you may ask? Glad you asked that, right? ACs, accountability checks. That's basically asking, are you following along? Are you doing the homework? Because this is what I can tell you the way I run the course, right? That whatever I assign, pretty much, I correct it at some point. Not every time. Like sometimes I'll tell you, this is on you now. Here's the answer key. But so a lot of students tend to just be like, well, and I'm just going to sit back here and just wait till he goes over it, right? That's not the point. Like that is, then why would I give you time to work on it, right? It doesn't make sense, right? The point is that you will only learn math by doing math. You will not learn math by watching me do it. You will not learn math by listening to me, right? You'll learn math primarily by actually doing it after you've watched me do a couple of examples. Okay, so that's important. So ACs are accountability checks. They're basically pop quizzes. You will get them 3 to 4 times a week. They're short. It is based on what has been covered so far, right? And they will be marked by each student. So I walk you through how to mark it, and then you will actually upload it with a grade on it. Like if it's out of 10, you'll say got 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 9 out of 10, doesn't matter. You upload it and I record that. And these are very important to prepare you for the test, right? They prepare you for the test. They let you know right away, oops, like I need to review this, or I'm doing fine, right? Or I need to watch out for this little thing that I keep messing up on. And so that's what ACs are there for. Quizzes, they're similar to ACs, but will be marked by the teacher. So I'm changing it a little bit. So they're usually 1 or 2 quizzes per unit. That's what I'm gonna do this semester. I've made some changes. Tests, there will be 6 to 7 tests administered throughout the semester. Final assessment, this covers all topics learned throughout the semester. The content will vary depending on how much was covered pending disruptions due to the pandemic. So I'm telling you that it's not going to be everything, but you don't know until the end, okay? Provincial exam has been canceled. I don't know if you've heard. So no provincial exam, which is, I would say a lot of students kind of always looked forward to that. Like that's like the end. Like this is the last shot, and then it's kind of like a wrap up, but not this year. The province, they're probably thinking that the results aren't going to be great, so they rather not do the exam, which is understandable, right? So tests will be worth 60%, quizzes, accountability checks 20, final assessment 20. The quizzes and accountability checks, if 20% is the full thing, I would say that accountability checks are going to be 5, right? And quizzes will be 15, the one I mark, okay? So yeah, accountability checks, are they worth a whole lot immediately? Maybe not, but they do add up in terms of getting ready for a test. Like if you keep on doing poorly on them, that means that you're not ready for the test, right? You need to improve. I want to say this though. I've seen a lot of students that don't do well in ACs, like here and there they bomb it. That's what you would say, right? But then they come back. They come back and they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna study harder. I'm gonna watch some videos and I'm just gonna come back and conquer it. So that's a nice thing, right? If you bomb it, at least you have a wake-up call before a quiz or before a test, right? So that's what the purpose of the AC is, and I like them, and that's what I've been doing lately. Second page, delivery of content during COVID-19, live stream obviously every day. I'm telling you here, right? Examples, your period is your period. Like you can't, another teacher cannot take my class time to do whatever. I know that some teachers don't live stream, but I do, so I need you to be available when the class is scheduled to be taken, right? Um, so handouts or whatever, I will try to think ahead and give them all to you when you're here. But if not, Google Classroom is where you go, right? I show you how to join, which is kind of irrelevant because I already have done this with you. Attendance. So let's skip down to the attendance here. I know that these are unprecedented times. Attendance will be taken daily for both students physically present and those joining remotely. Recordings of lessons should only be used as last resort. So I'm trying to tell you with that is don't bank on them, but they're there to review if you need to, or if your Wi-Fi dies or something happens, right? Or if I'm going a little bit too fast and you're not quite able to keep up, there's the video, right? So you basically say, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm behind here. I'm just going to leave a couple of lines and then catch up with Mr. Dirksen and continue and then just catch up on that later, right? I'm aiming to administer all tests in class, right? And it says here we will be doing a number of activities and or quizzes at the beginning, which will be marked as a class. So you have to be there right away to get in on that. Like if you join 20 minutes late or you're almost done marking the quiz, I can't let you do it because you've already marked it, right? If you miss an AC or something one day and it's a valid reason, I'll probably just excuse you. But if I notice that your car breaks down every time there's an AC, then I will dig deeper and kind of call you on it, right? So that's how ACs are going to be treated. Quizzes, I still want you to write if you miss them, okay? Additional notes, study sheet, I guess we've talked about it. And again, do not wait until the end. That's what I'm going to say there. That's all I'm going to say about study sheet because I already talked about it. So what's on the back side? Missed tests and assessments and late assignments would result in a 0 unless a valid reason is given. The test, right? Test will be written the first day back, okay? Now, if you didn't write your test, don't hide, don't hope, like I hope he doesn't notice, right? I'm just gonna sit here and not say anything. You have to come forward and remind me if I were to forget because I'm not seeing you every day, and we need to write it as soon as possible, or else it becomes a problem. I can't return the test. I can't move on, right? And you're gonna get a 0 on it, which is really bad, right? It brings your mark down significantly. Don't skip. We cover new content daily. If you miss class, it is your responsibility to make up for it, right? Especially now with videos, handouts, lessons you might have missed. Make sure you talk to me if you missed a day. That brings me to another topic in terms of handouts. You're not seeing it right now, but in the front of the room, there are like 3 racks. And those racks are gonna, for each course is gonna be dedicated. There's a sign that says what the course is, and that's where I'm gonna put like extra handouts. And if you missed one, you just go and help yourself, okay? That's how I'm gonna do that. Please note that math help during lunch is not available this year because of the COVID restrictions. We can't keep you here for lunch. But if you need help, email me, okay? Don't wait until it's too late. Oftentimes I can answer it on like right in the email. And if I notice that it needs to be addressed, then I will address it the next day, or I will make a short video and post it, and then that's where you get your answer, okay? And this is the big one here. You will only learn math by doing math, okay? There it is again. That was my professor's motto, and I strongly believe in that. Okay, that's that. We're done with the course outline. What I want you to take next is this SMR concepts review. Okay, so we're gonna work our way through this. When things are assigned, make sure you submit them. Don't just like, I bombed this one, I'm not gonna submit it, right? Try your best and submit whatever you have, right? If you've done some work, you'll probably earn a little bit something. If you're at home, you don't have this one, I posted the PDF just now. If you just want to take, like, do this on loose leaf, and then you just attach it to this paper when you get it in person here, okay? So I tell you that this is a review of some basic skills you should already be familiar with at this point. Although they're not designed to cover every skill you need in this course, they're the most common ones. Make sure you show all your work, round final answers. There it is. Round your final answers to 2 decimals and include units. That's huge. You can lose half marks here, left, right, and center if you forget that, right? So here we go. Write the following as decimals and percent. Do not round finite decimals, okay? And I will explain what that means right now. So just a little reminder, if you have a calculator, if you see a fraction ever, right, you just go top divided by bottom, right? Think of a fraction really looks like this. Would you agree, right? What does that symbol look like? Division, right? So I can't stress enough, right? Like you just go 3 divided by, this would be 3 divided by 4, right? And we all know that this is 0.75. Okay? And you want it as a percent. So if you go 0.75, anytime you multiply something by 100, you get a percentage. So you need to make sure you have the percent sign symbol following it. If you just put 75, that's incorrect. 75%. Okay. And you can move faster on me if you want, but I'm just going to show you a few things. I think you need to pay attention to the details here. I have a feeling that you know kind of basic what needs to be done. It's the details, right? It's the little things. Is that a Denzel Washington movie coming out? The little things, right? So here you have 5 divided by 6 is 0.833. It keeps on going, right? So what you would do is, if you were to ask to write that as a decimal, 83, right? You would cut it here after the second decimal, and then you always look at the third to determine whether this one is going to move up or down, right? So I'll tell you this. If you have a 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, then you round down. We call it rounding down. If it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it bumps up. So this is definitely, right? It's a 3, right? It would be here. So this just stays at 0.83. That's it. You round up when it's like this, you round down. Because you are in between, right? That's why you call it rounding down. You are in between 0.83 something and 0.84, right? You understand that? And so you round down to 0.83. That's why it is rounding down. Now, this is where mistakes are made. You want, if the province says write this as a percentage, a lot of students will just take 0.83 and multiply by 100 and say, hey, it's 83%, right? That would be the first temptation. They don't want you to do that. They want you to say, they want you to go 0.833, and this keeps on going. They want you to multiply whatever you have on your calculator by 100. So see how I still have the 0.833 on my calculator? Just multiply that by 100. And then it's 83.33%. That's the correct answer here. If you go 83% only, that would be a rounding early mistake. Now next, 3 divided by 32. Oh, see, I went times on my calculator. That's wrong. I better go divide. And this is a finite. Notice that, folks? This is a finite. It stops. That's what we call like finite is like finish. It does stop. So we write everything down. This is a finite. Okay. And now you're asked to write that as a percentage. You just take that on your calculator times 100. And that would be 9.375%, if you want to put it that way, or 9.3, this is a 5, right? The third one bumps that 7 to an 8. That would also be correct. When the province says round to 2 decimals, I found this out not like a couple years ago. If you do more than 2, that's fine, but it has to be done correctly. I basically tell my students always round to 2 decimals no matter what, right? Like, and then you'll be safe. So either one would be acceptable to the province. But I would say let's be consistent and always round to 2 decimals. D, 19 divided by 23. Definitely not finite, right? This one keeps on going. So we write down 0. Watch this, 82, but there's a 6 here. That will bump the 2 to a 3. So it's 0.83. And notice that you'd be tempted to say, hey, it's 83%, right? And this is where it comes down to. D and B, right? When rounded to 2 decimals, when you're writing it as a decimal, they're the exact same, right? But if it's percentage, sorry, 826, this keeps going, times 100. If you multiply that by 100 and then round to 2 decimals, you get 82.6. You would cut it here after the 0, but you look at the neighbor first, and that bumps the 0 up to a 1. So that would be 61%. So these are little like nuances that the province wants you to make a distinction. So really, when you're looking at percentages, they are different, right? Because we multiply whatever's on your calculator by 100, not whatever you got as a decimal and round it, right? I'm going to write this slightly differently. I just had probably a better way of writing it. So 7 divided by 8, it's also finite. That's 0.875. So what I'm going to do here, right? 0.875. If you wanted to write that as a decimal, it is already as a decimal, but we're going to round it to 2 decimals, like decimal, and here we're going to do percent. Okay. If you want to write this as a decimal rounded to 2, this would be 0.88, right? Because the 5 bumps that up to an 8. If this would be a percent, we would have to multiply this by 100, and we get 87.5%. So that's how you have to think of it. You get something on your calculator, you round that to 2 decimals if you want it as a decimal. You multiply that by 100 and then round, if necessary, to that. Next, 3 1/4. We're almost out of time, folks, so we're going to stop after this. 3.25. If you have a whole, this is a mixed, right? Mixed fraction. Just go 3 whole units and a quarter at the back, right? So what would that be as a decimal? You're done as a decimal, right? And percentage, you basically go 3.25 times 100, that's 325%, okay? 3.25 times 100, 325%. And that is it for today. If you want to